Alright. Blah, 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 blah. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. I just need to start showing. I guess I'm just going to show everything. Because I'm going to be sort of darting all over the place. So I've started working on my predictions, which is sort of. Oh, hang on, I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. That was a notification on my. Because I'm subscribed to myself on my other channel. Just need to have it turned on to Do Not Disturb. And then I need to go into my smartwatch. Sort of ran out of time, but I've started working on a few things. There's not too much change in some of these. Ricardo Corte with Kai Allen could be interesting. And something that I sort of thought about was like, all right, Triple Eight's their new Ford engine supplier, so it's not like they're going to be worse than any other Ford team. They're going to be the best Ford team. We know this. Then what else? War Control TWG. I'm pretty sure that's what the team's called. DJR have got a new engineer for Ryland Gray because Tom Moore has stepped up to team manager. So that's going to be interesting. There we go. Turn off notifications. Okay, so yeah, they got Ed Williams with Ryland Gray, and I was thinking, is that a good idea? I guess it doesn't really matter too much when you have a new guy, but I don't know. Like Ed Williams is not. Ryland Gray, new engineer. He's part of the DJR fold, right? He's not. So that's Ed Williams apparently. No, hang on, that might be Mark Fanning. He's going to be the role of team principal. Did we see what Ryan Story said? I think. No, we'll get to the quote. His appointments are sold out for changes in engineering department. Ed Williams become race engineer to Ryland Gray. No changes with Brody Kostecki and George Cummins. New workshop manager role because they've got a guy they want to keep. Finalizing the recruitment's next CEO. Yeah, the woman. I can't remember what her name is. Ryan Story. Oh, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second just so I can plop out the chat, just in case anybody bothers to watch. Yeah. Stick that there. No, that'll do it. Whoops. Alright. Back to what we're looking at. Ownership group of Shell, blah, 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 blah. Nothing really about Ed. George and Ed as a race engineers. Best engineering group in the paddock. Given both Brody and Ryan the best opportunities. Mark and Tom's own. So, interesting. So, Tom Moore, Brody Kostecki, George Cummins, Ed Williams, Mark Fanning. So that's Ed Williams there. Not sure what he did before. And there's Mark Fanning again. And Tom Moore. They just got a few photos. They've already got Tom Moore there and they got Mark Fanning there. All right, whatever. That's funny. So let's say who Ed Williams was. Seasoned engineer Ed Williams. Right, so no idea. Engineer team management shake-up got announced on the 5th, so a week later, roughly, a week and a bit later. So any reason why we might know Ed Williams? Okay. Did I skip over a bit? It just says Ed Williams. It doesn't say anything. I don't know who he is. Who is this guy? Does V8 Sleuth have anything to say? And this is important because we want to know, is the guy like actually experienced? Like, what's he done? And I think all the news articles are they're just echoing everything. They're telling us about Mark Fenning. We know who Mark Fenning is. If you paid attention for the last freaking 8 years, Mark Fenning was Fabian Coulthard's engineer in 2018 through to 2020. And then in 21, he stepped to a different role. What's that? Williams will be assisted. What are they saying there? Largely focused on the motorsport powertrain side of the DJR business this year. Right. That's it. Well, there we go. What's this? They say he's phenomenally talented. All right. Well, I guess we got to take their word for it. I've had a very broad brief over the past few years. There we go. We get a little bit about him. I wish I knew who this guy was. Well, there we go. There's a LinkedIn. Apparently this is Ed Williams. And I don't have LinkedIn, so that's annoying. Don't know what's going on there. Well, they're saying the experienced Williams. Oh wait, there we go. He engineered the Simone Di Silvestro car. Okay, here we go. That's interesting. Yeah, sometimes these wild cards happen, and they put an engineer in, and you just never heard of this guy. So there we go. Supercars debut as race engineer for the number 98 Shelby Power Mustang. Worked with Kai Allen, worked with Simone Di Silvestro. 7 years experience with the team working as a design performance data engineer. Okay, he's like the Richard Couch or the David Couchy of DJR. But this is someone they've been blooding for a long time, I guess. Nothing, no quote from him, obviously. He's just an engineer. So Mikey Flynn, Perry Kappa, Mark Fanning, from within with Ed Williams. Right. So that's that. And I guess they're not gonna So that's sort of interesting. So the last 2 years, when did they say that? Whoopsies. Very broad brief over the past few years. So he's been working. Other thing. All right. So he's been focused on motorsport powertrains in 2025. So 2023, he was doing data engineer stuff. It looked like he was there. I mean, was that picture from 2020? Where's the DJ? I think the actual DJ announcement. So there he is, right? And he was Will Davison's engineer for, was it Adelaide? Just a bit of a late call up, but how did Will Davo do? He did fine. He had a fast car, that's what the engineer's job is to give the driver a fast car. If you can't do that, then maybe you're not a good enough engineer, because Will Davison's not a bad driver. They just felt like he just wasn't able to get the results somehow. They needed to make a move. So yeah, I'm not sure about Ed Williams. They're backing him. They're saying how great he is. I'm just not sure. But they had like Tom Moore with Will Davison, and I guess that was the only way to get Tom Moore in, because he wasn't going to be a data engineer. He could have stayed at Erebus as a race engineer if he wanted to. So they wanted to get Tom Moore, and now Tom Moore's going to be team manager, I think. Is that what it was? Wherever it was. Yeah, the new team manager. What else? But they're always going to say that, oh, this guy's really good. He's gonna set the world on fire. Whoopsies. It doesn't mean he actually is. So I'm not sure that. But even then, like, you got to think Adelaide. Will Davison did a good job. You know, I think it's going to be fairly reasonable for Ed Williams and Kai Allen. I don't know how quickly Rylan Gray might get his first top 10 or qualify in the top 10 for the first time. But Rylan, let's have a look at Rylan Gray. 2023 was when Super 2. It was 2023 when he did. I think it was. He did the. Super 3 Car of the Future, Super Project Blueprint, right? Yeah, so he rocked up in Adelaide and did that one round. So, and he kept out of trouble. Then, come 2024, he was in the mix. He was close. Something went wrong at Barbagallo. Something went wrong at Townsville, Sandown, and then got his. So he was top 5 pretty much straight away, but he needed to make that next step to get more podiums. 2025. Well, he's just consistent. Wouldn't say he's the fastest guy ever, because Lockheed Outen, to get you get 4 poles and you get the pole award. That's not great. That just means like so many different people got poles, doesn't it? Cam McLeod got 1. Cody Bircher got 1. Zach Bates got 1. And then you got Lockie Doughton got 2. Brad Vaughan got 1. Brad Vaughan got 2. Brad Vaughan's a fast guy, but he just needs to stitch it all together and make it happen more regularly. Jackson Walls got 1. Lockie Doughton got 2. Rolling Gray, and then Brad Vaughan got another 1. I think Brad Vaughan's able to capitalise on his pole positions a bit better. This is kind of irrelevant, but Brad Vaughan just used to lose positions from pole. Was it 2 years at 2 years at Tickford, and just was not capitalising on his qualifying positions. So whoopsies. So yeah, how did Ryland do in the Enduros? Where was he? He did the wild card of the Tickford. And they were solid. They kept out of trouble. They came, was it 13th, 12th? It was a great result. They started way down. I think they were last. They started last and dragged themselves up to the 12th or whatever it was, and it was okay. wasn't great, but yeah. I don't think. Well, I mean, you got to. Another thing is, like, if you're comparing Ryland Gray to Kai Allen, you got to think like how quickly Kai Allen wasn't the most incredible driver you've ever seen. He won 3 races, first 3 races of the year. Something happened in qualifying. He started further down the field, got himself up to 8th, and then Bathurst was where it went wrong. But I think I talked about this before. I might have talked about this before. Zach Bates got the win at Barbagallo, and then something went wrong at Townsville there. Kylan beats him, and then Zach starts beating him. Has a nice clean Bathurst, and then Kylan was just not fast enough. In the last round, I was there watching him going, he hasn't got the pace. I was there both days, and he just didn't have the pace, which that was unfortunate. But Zach Bates obviously got the job done that year, even though he had 2 bad races. But same deal as Kai Allen. But even then, you can see more podiums for Zach Bates compared to Kai Allen. Ryland, obviously, it was Ryland's first year, his first full year in 2024. But then same again. Kai Allen won the thing, and just consistency. So one bad race there. He just had one bad race, and that was the one where was it Cooper Murray and was it a different one? 23? Maybe I'm thinking 24 then. Maybe it was 24. Yeah, it must have been 24 when Cooper Murray put Cam McLeod. Was it Cam McLeod must have put Cooper Murray. Is that what it... No, it wasn't. Cooper Murray did it, I swear. Who did he hit then? Wasn't Ryland Gray. Am I confusing something? I swear it happened last year. It was the Coca-Cola car. Well, there were a couple. Was it Cooper Murray? He got disqualified. I'm so confused. They might have put it back. Okay, you know what happened? They probably red flagged it, and so Cooper Murray got disqualified. Cam McLeod kept his result. I think that's what probably happened. It was a couple of years ago now. But yeah, obviously Bathurst was where it went wrong for Kai Allen, but Kai wasn't up there. He was just consistent. So you could probably say the same thing about Rylan Gray. He wasn't necessarily, well, if that's, he was inconsistent here in 2024. But then you look at 2025, and that was just pure consistency. I think he wasn't pushing too hard. I think I remember watching Adelaide last year. He just wasn't going to be fighting anyone to win the championship. He didn't have to do much to lock it down. I think Lockie Doughton had to beat him to win the championship. But it's not like he set the world on fire at Sydney. But he wasn't running away with the pole award or anything like that. So it's interesting, right? Because to have someone like Kai Allen come in and progressively get better, like he was consistent apart from what went wrong at Bathurst, which is a steering failure, and then there was a couple of things that went wrong. I can't remember. There was there 3 things that went wrong? And he started down the back in the first race at Bathurst, and then can't remember. And then he had that crash. And then he just didn't have the pace at Adelaide, but he did in the second race. But he only came second. He needed to beat Zach Bates. I think Zach Bates. Yeah, he needed to beat Zach Bates, and I think Zach Bates actually needed to be slower. So Aaron Cameron, I remember him running away in that first race, but he didn't have the speed in that. I think something must have happened in that second one. I think he had an issue. Yeah. So, you say Rylan Gray is going to be another Kai Allen. Rylan Gray has been impressive everywhere he's stepped into, but he wasn't impressive straight away here in 2024. Now, I don't know if things went wrong for him that weren't his fault. But when things didn't go wrong, he was top 5, it seems. I won't be able to show footage. I'd have to do extra research, I guess. But on a good day, he's top 5 in Super 2 in his rookie season. And Bathurst was pretty chaotic. And that's why Zach Bates wasn't able to get a win, and Kai Allen wasn't able to get a win, the major contenders. And that ended up playing Aaron Cameron into the mix. But I think there's 2 bad races for Aaron Cameron, but his bad races were better, and he didn't have the DNF like Kai Allen did. So yeah, 14th or was it 15th for Aaron Cameron? He has 60 points, and that plays him well ahead of Kai Allen. So, but Rylan Gray, he's quite young as well. I think he's 18. So, what do they say? Hang on, they've probably got it written in here somewhere. We don't need that anymore. No, don't really need to see that. All care, no responsibility. Radio. Yeah, I think Rylan Gray is about 18 or something. So 2026 was now and never. He says it now. What else we got? So Rylan Gray and Ed Williams. I'm not sure that Ed Williams is. Well, I mean, okay. My argument is like look at Adelaide. It wasn't bad for Will Davison and Ed Williams. So you can't really say Ed Williams isn't a good engineer. And Rylan Gray he's not like a freak talent like Kai Allen was. Like Kai Allen came in 2023 and in 2022 Super 3 and was qualifying faster than half of the Super 2 cars. Then he got into Super 2 and was just consistent enough to nab the championship. It wasn't like he had the cleanest of years though in 2023. Like we had one bad race, but he finished every race. And a DNF is basically the end of your championship. That's why Ryan Wood didn't win the championship. It was pretty much his to lose, because he was just that impressive. Townsville though wasn't great for Woody, but I think he had bad qualifying. He had to carve his way through the field. I think it was Zach Best and Ryan Wood were carving their way through the field on the Saturday. Yeah, DNF at Bathurst and DNF at Newcastle for Ryan Wood put him out of the championship. He could have been able to get it done. But yeah, Kai Allen and it was pretty much Kai Allen and Zach Best, and it was a minuscule difference. But Kai Allen had played himself into it, and by just not crashing the car, had one bad race. The rest of the time, top fives. 2025, Rylan Gray. He has been impressive in other categories. In GT4, he did a great job. In the other things he's been doing a great job. Did a great job at in the Enduros with Lockie Doughton, and they didn't really have the pace at Tailem Bend, but at Bathurst, they just kept it clean and got a good result. Which he just didn't seem to be able to do in his rookie Super 2 seasons. He wasn't sensational like Kai Allen was. But Kai Allen got his first win in 2023, like a down 3 rounds in, and he's top 5 and racked up 5 podiums, including 2 wins. So Rylan Gray only got the 2 podiums. So he's not quite a Kai Allen. But he did get the job done better in last year with Tickford. But yeah, you don't know. I think it's hard to say that Riley Gray is like a Kai Allen. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think expectations are that high, but like Kai Allen got into the finals in 2025, and some of it was consistency, I think. Kai Allen, here we go. Yeah, so no DNFs for Kai Allen. And it was just that he started picking up some results close to the end of the season. He didn't get that deep into the 10. He was just sort of dancing around in 10th. Right. And then Brody and Woody crashed. Brody crashed and Woody had his issue. And then Anton got a penalty for punting Courtney, which put him out. But that was unfortunate for Anton because he probably should have been further up. But it looks like that 20th at Bathurst was probably what killed him. Kai came 8th. Matt Payne got the win, and they played themselves a lot better. I mean, Matt Payne was going to come second in the championship if it wasn't for finals. Kai Allen played himself in, and he was finishing ahead of Thomas Randall, which is what he had to do. And he was also ahead of Anton. And Anton played himself out, and so that was the end of that. Kai being able to get a few trophies in his rookie season, that was probably the biggest help. So, like, we know that he can do a really good job. And then the way he performed in the finals, some of the best. Like, you got the top 4, and he was pretty much like Brock Feeney was unfortunate with that engine issue, and that's why. Otherwise, everybody was in the top 10. And Matt Payne played himself out when he wanted to have a cage match with Cam Waters. And Waters had nothing to lose. He was out, or he was going to fight like a bear with it. So, could Rylan Gray do that? And the thing is, I think DJR is not like a Grove Racing. I was thinking about this, have my shower thoughts about why Kai Allen did so well. And I thought it's because Groves are a great team. They will give both drivers the best chance possible to get a result. They're very similar to Triple Eight. That's what the way Dave Couch shaped the team is. Don't blame the driver. You work together as a team. You win as a team. You lose as a team. There are other teams like Team 18 that are they're a bit harder on their drivers. And maybe DJR isn't a Grove or a Triple Eight because DJR, and maybe, this is a different era for DJR Team Penske with Fabian shaping the team around Scott McLaughlin means that they had one car. They didn't have 2 cars. And, they kept Fabian for until the end of the Penske era. And Penske wanted Fabian as a team player. And that's just the way they manage things. But they didn't have 2 equal cars. And I'm not sure, okay. And then you think Anton and Will Davo. They were pretty equal. They had equal opportunity. And until 2025, Davo was doing a great job. And then Brody comes along and the cars are different and everything's different. And Davo's just not managing that quite as well. He's able to drive great, but getting the setup right, he was just constantly battling to get the setup right all year. Whereas Brody was pretty much right where he needed to be, getting the most out of that car all year long. And yeah. So maybe it might be different for Rylan Gray coming in because he doesn't have experience like Will Davison's got. So Rylan will come in and it'll be all fresh for him. He obviously a Tickford guy. Now he's come in and he's getting his opportunity. It's all pretty new to him. So he's only, you look at 21st, you go, well, he didn't crash. So that's probably a good result for him. And so he can just move forward and not have to worry about whether 21st was good enough or not. But, Will Davison coming 21st, you go, that's a shocker. Will Davison shouldn't be coming 21st. So, Will Davison is a driver who should be running up the front. And that's why he's been replaced with Rylan Gray. So, but the expectations on a rookie aren't going to be as high. But I still think Rylan Gray won't be in the finals, at least. He won't be in the finals. He might come top 15 in the championship, but who's he going to beat? Right? I'm not sure. I think it would have to be, because I said the same sorts of things about Kai Allen. Right? And maybe I have a different understanding this year of Grove Racing compared to last year. I just assumed that every team's the same. Every team is going to deliver. They're going to place their expectations the same. They're going to have different. They're going to have, like, the only difference is whether a driver is good enough or whether the car is going to be good enough. And that's sort of that was the way I approach it. Whereas you look at Will Brown, he didn't have a great season, but he's driving a Triple Eight car. He often qualified worse than he raced, and didn't get the most podiums of anyone, but he ended up second in the championship because of the finals and because Kai Allen wasn't good enough and Brock Feeney had an engine issue. So I think Rylan Gray, I don't really know how I want to do it. If I want to do like a range or if I want to just draw a line in the sand and say this is how it's going to be. Number 600 there. In some of these Wikipedia pages, it doesn't tell you. Here in 222 in his last race. Yeah, I thought he did. Cam Waters 300 at Ipswich. Matt Payne 100 at Bathurst. And they won with that number as well. That was cool. Yeah, it's just, and there's what sort of changes? We're looking at some changes. Tom Moore up to team manager. I think there were just a few issues that they needed to iron out for 2025. Some people that maybe could have been moved on. But they had their benchmark, right? They had, all right, this is how Will Davison did in 2024. Let's put him up against Brody Kostecki. And I personally wouldn't have let Anton go. I would have let Will Davison go. And yeah, like I know Anton threw away some results in 2024, but I still would have kept him because then you have a qualifying benchmark. All right, and Anton and Brody, they're mates. They get along. Put them in a team together. That will make the team do better. That's the way I would have seen it. Yeah, I think Will Davison maybe wasn't the one to make it happen. Difficult to say. But I think Rylan Gray, he won't be bad. Is there someone else that I maybe didn't see that did a pretty good job? So anyone who sort of came in 2024 Max Vidot, he just did the one season, right? And he was pretty impressive. But Rylan did a better job there. Something went wrong at Barbagallo. Max did better at Townsville. Maybe something happened at Townsville there for Rylan. Didn't beat Max there. And then there's actually a great podcast to watch. It's called the In the Wall podcast. And it's got Mr. Dusty, and it's got this other guy who I don't know his name, but they're a bunch of like grassroots races, and they had Max Vidot on, and they had who did they have? Did they have Jared Hughes? No, they had Who they have? Hang on. One of the what's his name? Not Cody Birch. Brady Owen. They had Brady Owen in. And so yeah, Brady Owen and Max Vidot, and they did a great job. So Max Vidot did a great job. So that it's tough. I don't know what Rylan Gray does during the week, but and it'd be probably good to look up some interviews with him. But Max Vidot is one of those guys who he goes to work during the week and he runs his own show, whereas Rylan Gray maybe has a bit more of a team behind him. I think some people think that Rylan Gray is bringing a big bag of cash, and I'm not sure if that's completely true. At least in a sponsorship aspect. So 2024, I don't think he had any sponsors. 2025, he didn't really have any sponsors. And so it wasn't like he was so if he was if he's bringing a big bag of cash, it's not coming from sponsorship, it's coming from family money. Like he's got a rich dad and the dad's a CEO of a big multi-million billion-dollar company, and so he's funding Rylan's career, rather than a business sponsoring Rylan Gray and sponsoring his career and helping him go up the ranks that way. So like it's not completely money like it might be for Jackson Walls, who Jackson Walls was in Porsche for a long time, and now he's in Super 2, and now he's in main game, and he wasn't the best rookie. Obviously, he crashed out for Adelaide, so he didn't get to do Adelaide. And who's his team? He was 5th, I think, in the championship. And so everybody else scored about 200 points, roughly. A bunch of guys scored good points and got him, but I don't know. But yeah. Was it Ben Gomersall? Who was the top not Tickford car? Brad Vaughan, I guess. Yeah. There's 3 DNFs in a row for Jackson Walls. But yeah, so like Jackson Walls brings a big bag of cash, and there are some drivers who definitely do that. I think Lockie Doughton's had Logitech for quite a while. I think he had them when he was at Brad Jones, when he replaced what's her name? It must have been 23. Ellie Morrow. So Ellie Morrow was, hang on, no. Oh, it must have been 22. Lockie Doughton must have come in 22. And then he did, what, a full year at Brad Jones? Bit of noise. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know. Brad Vaughan had like a similar thing at Adelaide to Jackson Walls. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting sort of lost here, lost in the Super 2 stuff. There's Job Stewart. He did an okay job. You've had a better year in 24, but it's a few bad races. 5 bad races. Not great. So he was occasionally on the podium on a good day, able to do it, but I don't know. Oh, yawning. My goodness. I don't know. Yeah. Rylan Gray. It's a difficult one to work out, Rylan Gray. But all right. If we're gonna put a dent in this thing, let's say, all right. Impressive. Up the ranks. Coming up the ranks. But whether GR can provide the right environment for him to emulate Kai Allen's success. And maybe we're not being fair on Rylan Gray to say that he's a Kai Allen. I mean, he won the championship. But maybe no one else was good enough. Maybe Lockheed Doughton wasn't good enough. Maybe none of his ticket teammates were good enough. And so they couldn't beat him. Lockheed Doughton was in there longer, but he couldn't beat Rylan Gray. So if Lockheed Doughton ever comes into Super 2, you can't say he's like a Rylan Gray. He's not. Because he didn't beat Rylan Gray, and he was there before Rylan Gray. Whether DJR can provide the right environment for him to emulate Kai Allen's success will be the big question. So, Ed Williams is relatively fresh as a Supercars race engineer. But did a good job in Adelaide with Will Davison. So his abilities shouldn't be a detriment to the team. All right. And that's kind of it, right? It's just about whether DJR can make it happen for him, not whether Rylan Gray's good enough or Ed Williams is good enough. So, as far as Brody goes, like, I don't know how to predict Brody, but we've got that. I guess we're starting at DJR. There's no changes for Brody, but there's a lot of changes for the 17. And I'm predicting they're going to run the 17. People saying, "Oh, is Brody going to have the 17? Because Brody will get the special number." Brody's already got a special number. I think it's ridiculous these days to, like, why would you have 38 one year and then 17 the next year at DJR? Yeah, like, it's just a silly thing to do. The only reason, like, I think we talk about, like, Jack LeBrock had 55 and then he had number 5. And Tickford would do stuff like that, move people around within the entries. Chaz Mostert was in the 6, then he was in the 55. And Cam Waters was in the 6, has been in the 6 his entire main game career. But then you've got Jack LeBrock 55 to the 5 in 2021. James Courtney was in the 44 for 2 years. Then he was in the 44? Yeah, he was in the 44 for 2 years. Then he was in the 5 for another 2 years at Tickford. And that's just because of racing entitlement contracts. That's not because they like to change numbers around. Matt Stone Racing did that. They like to have that connection to Stone Brothers, so that's what they decided to do, and make things much more about them rather than the heritage with Gary Rogers, which is like what they pretty much had 34 and the 35. 35 obviously a special number for Matt Stone Racing because they won it with they won the Super 2 title with Todd Hazelwood. But the number, like if you had a choice, if you got the chance to change numbers like you do in main game, then that's what they did. Same as with Erebus when they got rid of the number 4 and then put the number 99 in. And sort of cut those ties with Stone Brothers because they were Stone Brothers numbers, number 4 and number 9. So yeah, so we think that Brody and DJR will do a better job. I think they will. I think Brody is. I've been looking at Will Brown, and so we'll come back to DJR eventually. So Will Brown has had 2 incredible teammates. He's had Brody Kostecki and Brock Feeney, and both times. Now in 2021 it was pretty even, Brody Kostecki and Will Brown, but Brody stepped it up to a whole nother level in 22, and then he stepped I don't know if it was a whole lot further in 23, but Brody just started maximizing from 22 onwards, and so I think Will Brown, he's had two teammates who are some of the most sensational drivers to come through the sport. Brody Kostecki is incredible. Brock Feeney is incredible. So to say that Will Brown is just not a good driver isn't really fair, because he was quite impressive in 2021. But he struggled in 22 when the car wasn't quite as good, when the team was struggling with the car, and while he had a better year in 23, he was still getting beaten that regularly by Brody Kostecki. So, and then you come in 2024, and while Brock Feeney was beating Will Brown regularly, Will Brown was still very consistent and got a lot of podiums, and that's what won him the championship. Whereas Brock Feeney struggled just a little bit more on a bad day. Like Brock Feeney's bad days were really bad, whereas Will Brown's bad days weren't that bad. But in 2025, Will Brown's qualifying deficit to Brock Feeney was a lot more. And it seems like just for, I don't know if it was a tyre thing, but whatever it was, and they took risks at times when they really should. Like they took risks at Sandown. He laid a lap down, and they didn't do another lap, and they really should have sent him out just in case, because you can't be hedging bets on someone who's been struggling all season. But they did, and they're backing him. He's got a contract through to 2028 or 2029, and so they're backing him. But I don't think Will Brown is worse than other drivers in the category. I think it's not quite fair. I think you could say he's definitely third best at least. And if you argue, he's got the 888 car, he should be better than all the Tickford drivers, and all the Walkinshaw drivers and all the Grove drivers, and he shouldn't be qualifying outside of the top 10 like he did quite a few times. So it's difficult to say. But he was still very consistent in terms of point scoring. So he'd still be top 5. I mean, second ain't bad. He probably would have been third in the championship. Actually, we can check that. Let's have a look at my (2025) ups and downs. Yeah. Because I want to see the total points scored and see where he actually ended up. Was he fourth? Was he third? I think he would have been third because Matt Payne overtook him into second and maintained that. Chaz Mostert was 800 points down heading into Bathurst. He wouldn't have come third. So around 27, 24. Matt Payne 28, 25, 27, 24. Yeah, so like Chaz Mostert was nowhere near enough. 24, 21 there. So yeah, Chaz was fourth for sure. So yeah, so Will Brown was third on merit in 2025. So yeah, and that's what we got. So he's still a top driver, but you know, you got so Triple Eight's probably a better team than DJR, but they've got Brody Kostecki, and they're building a team around Brody Kostecki. They got Rylan Gray in the car, and I hope they don't bring the same crappy attitude to Rylan Gray as happened to Fabian. And so, but I'm wondering also, sometimes like with Walkinshaw, they built the team around Chaz, and they couldn't quite find someone to be Chaz's number 2, and then they found Ryan Wood, and they put Ryan Wood in, and he's been brilliant, and now he's become a threat to Chaz. He's a genuine threat. The only reason he couldn't beat Chaz was because, I need to go into this to see how many points he actually lost him, whether he was genuinely beaten. I mean, he was genuinely beaten when Chaz was beating him in the finals. But Ryan stepped out of the way for Chaz, so it's not, you can't say it's legitimate. So, but earlier in the season, they were racing hard. You know, would he beat Chaz legitimately? But I think Chaz had a bad qualifying. But then, you know, Chaz still wasn't qualifying very well either. So I say Will Brown's definitely, you know, difficult 2025. He has had 2 of the best drivers of the current era as teammates. 2 of the best drivers of the current era as teammates. He was still able to perform and drag the car into third highest points on the old system. Behind Brock and Matt Payne. And they don't want that, obviously, but so I'd say a safe bet that Brown will be in the top 5 of the championship in 2026. I'd say so. And same with Brock Feeney. Brock has improved year on year, and if 2025 is any 2025 is any resemblance of 2026, will be the guy to beat. And my sprinkler's coming on. Be the guy to beat. The only thing that stopped him winning the championship was an engine issue. It was an engine issue, and he fixed his mid-pack qualifying struggles from 2024. You know? So, like, yeah. So I predict he'll win the championship. Now, I've got this other thing that I do every year called my Supercars season, which is like what I want to see happen, and I want to see Brody Kostecki battling up the front, because I think having Brody up the front is great for the sport, and it just doesn't happen enough. It didn't happen enough in 24, obviously, with Erebus issues, but he did start winning, and it was great to see. Great to see him at Darwin, flashing the lights. That's the attitude. Just love to see the attitude. And they were right in the mix at Sandown, and they won Bathurst from pole, and they went to Gold Coast and he got a win, and they went to Brody's great because he ruffles feathers when he's at the top. So yeah, but I don't know how to predict improvement for a team. Obviously, they've got some big changes for. Did I say? Yeah. Obviously, they got some changes with Rylan Gray and Ed Williams, but they got no changes with Brody Kostecki and George Commons. There are some changes. So you got Tom Moore as the team manager. What does a team manager do? Team manager. It depends if he's going to be on the pit board, but I think they might have that stuff sorted. We go back to Tom Moore will be, he was team manager at Adelaide. Did anything go wrong at Adelaide for the team? I don't think so. I think it was fine. Mark Fanning is now team principal, replacing Ryan Story. Mark Fanning. Was Mark Fanning? Who was Will Davison? Will Davison was Tom Moore. Yeah. So Tom Moore has gone from being engineer to team manager. Mark Fanning's team principal. He was team manager last year or something. Don't think of any other changes really. Workshop manager doesn't really matter too much. Evolve, improve, and deliver significant gains. Really? Will it? Okay, so Mark Fanning has pretty much been team principal, so that's fair. Tom, I guess, wanted to be team manager. The best engineering group. And I guess when you're an engineer, you probably deal with the team manager quite a lot, working out what you're going to be doing. So there's that. But here's the thing, right? You do wonder how much a difference having a stacked engineering lineup makes. Like, does it actually make a big difference? Groves have got a lot of engineers in their team, but so do Team 18. What they have? Sometimes you don't need so many engineers. Sometimes you need good managers. So it's difficult to say. So, Yeah, Mark Fanning was team manager, and he was doing a lot of team principal type things. I guess Ed Williams was some sort of in 2025 they said he was mainly at Motorsport Powertrains, so he was doing a lot of that. And then Tom Moore was engineering Will Davison, and he was working with George Commons to get the most out of the cars. Brody obviously one of the drivers. What did I say? Is that a Darwin? Looks like it might be a Darwin because of they've got like the shirt that Brody's got, and then you've got the dot painting in the background. Oh, it's tough. So they've made changes, right? Tom Moore as the team manager, Mark Fanning as a team principal. And I guess DJR have got all their best people in the race team now because they don't have a motorsport. They don't have motorsport powertrains anymore. I don't know what's happening with that business. I wonder if it's being sold or something. I mean, what else do you do with it? Maybe you sell it, or you just turn it into like a tuning shop because you don't need these like incredible people to run the tuning shop. It's just now. Yeah, that must have cost millions to set that thing up, and to then a year later lose the gig. Like, that's brutal. But I guess it's not up to Supercars to make that decision. I think it's probably up to the manufacturer. I guess Supercars has to accept the application. And no longer a homologation team. That's kind of it. There's not a whole lot. And I don't know. I've got to think whether are there examples in history of drivers or teams that actually maybe had a bit of a difficult first year or wasn't quite what we might have expected. Chaz Mostert, great example. But they won the championship from the finals. They didn't win it, but legitimately. No, just on normal points, Chaz was fourth on the old system. So it's not like they were. It's not like it would be kind of weird to see. Like, it wouldn't be completely unexpected to see them win more races, Walkinshaw. But they weren't the team to beat. Triple A was the team to beat, and Walkinshaw waited until the finals to play the game and have a car that was really good at all three tracks. Supposedly that's what they did. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, I don't know. Ryan Wood was very fast, and I think Ryan Wood didn't have to worry about playing that game. He probably helped. Chaz was probably a bit more involved in that because Chaz is a bit more interested in being the team leader, being the senior driver. and this is his team. They built it around him. They signed him and Adam DeBore in 2020, and they said they built the team around him, but I think that they probably just wanted to do whatever it took to give Chaz what he needed to be winning the championship, and he delivered. He got it done for him, but they had to do something tricky to get it done. It's difficult to say whether whether Walkinshaw is actually going to be able to do anything impressive. Is it TWG or TRG? I need to double check that. TRG, damn it. I'm like, what is it called? So yeah. And I've gone for an hour now, and it's good. And I mean, this is such a big task as well to get it right. I don't feel too worn out either, but I got work tomorrow. I got such a big day today as well. I've got a lunch, and then I've got a mate coming over this afternoon. I was like, yeah, there's a gap in my time. Let's do it. And I'll be up at the pub for lunch, and I'll get there maybe 5 minutes early and have a drink. But yeah, so it's something that we were talking about in 2025. Is Chaz over the hill? Chaz was really good in 24 when the team got things right. They had things that went wrong that cost them the championship. And so my prediction for 2025 was, if they can iron out all those issues, they'd be a lot closer to winning the championship. And so that was sort of the thing. But he wasn't beating Will Brown and Brock Feeney enough. So he wasn't that close. But there was, I think, Sydney Motorsport Park, we were like, oh, he's just swept the thing. What if he just starts winning lots of races towards the back end of the year and then wins the championship? And that was as bad as good as it got. He was really good at, I think, at Gold Coast, and they had issues, and that stopped them from capitalizing. Bathurst 2024. That was a bad year for them, I think. They really struggled with getting those results done. So in 2025, I don't think it was that different. I think Scott Pye said, Scott Pye was looking at how many points Chaz was from the championship leader at certain points in the year, and Chaz just wasn't close enough. So like you can set everything up around 3 rounds of the championship and have all your setups worked out, which I guess was what they did, because no one actually knows what they did. I don't remember hearing a whole lot about them planning on organising everything around the finals to win the championship, but I'd have to do some digging. I still haven't got over TRG being the new name of Andretti Global. I'm still just like, this is a crime. It feels like a crime. Obviously, Zach Brown sold his shares. So there's no longer Walkinshaw Andretti United because the United bit got sold to Andretti Global, which is now known as TRG, because that was the only way that they were going to get Cadillac into the championship. I'm still like, what's the big deal? It's another team. But like, yeah, but what are they going to bring? All right, that's a completely different subject, but I'm still just sort of annoyed about it. So yeah, I do not have. Okay, we've still got the finals, right? If they do it again, they could definitely be a contender. That's what I'll say. All right. Chaz got the job done. Who's to say he won't do it again? The only reason that Ryan Wood wasn't in the conversation is because of issues outside of his control. So there is a chance that Ryan Wood could beat Chaz. You know, if we say that this team is going to be the one to get it done, then yeah. I don't know if nuts actually give much protein. Wish I had like meat or something to cook. Alright. It's tough. Like, there's so many teams that could be the best, that could put a guy in the finals. Tickford, I often think of Tickford as being a team that they have a zigzag time. They always zigzag. 2020 came Waters second. 2021 came fifth. 2022 came second. 2023 came was it fifth? Something like that. 2024 he was up there, was like fourth or something. And then 2025 down sixth. Tickford can have up and down years, so I think you can't doubt Tickford and say that they can't be in the mix. Cam Waters is a great driver. Cam Waters is a good shot at being in the finals. Whether it's going to be Chaz or Ryan Wood, I don't like suggestive text. It's too annoying. I wish I could turn that off. Can I do that? Proofing language, no. Spelling sign, I like that. I'll try that, see what it does. I don't want it to be telling me how to write my sentences. All right. Okay, so Chaz will definitely be in the top 10. Okay, Ryan Wood. All right, Woody was well incredibly fast in 25. Scoring more poles than Chaz, and overall out qualifying Chaz across the year. Unfortunately, unfortunately, there were mechanical issues that held Ryan back from getting further into the finals himself. I wonder if he actually would have. Because he got knocked out. And by the way, I've got this thing called this bad races thing. Two guys had like the most bad races of the year: Thomas Randall and David Reynolds. Aaron Love also had more bad races, but he had 2 out of 3 bad races. But David Reynolds and Thomas Randall had more. And what I call a bad race is one where you either don't finish or you finish lower than you started. And so David Reynolds and Thomas Randall were the two guys who was like, wow, bad time. So Ryan Wood, here he is. All right. So he got knocked out after there, right? So where's Kai Allen? He was further ahead. He scored more points. He scored more points again than Ryan Wood. Now, Woody had issues. And Woody is way down the order, but I think his is mainly mechanical issues. Not the bad races. His was what was it? The net loss. So yeah, he had a lot of positions lost. So same vein as bad percentage of bad races, and he had 54% of bad races. And this all comes from me working on my Greg Murphy video. Murph had quite a few bad races, quite a few years of bad races. So yeah, and the highlight is like number of times that Ryan Wood outqualified Chaz Mostert. Something happened in that second one. Don't know what it was. Was that one where he stuffed the start? I think it was. One of them he did. There's like a clutch failure or something. Something happened there. I think it was a crash or something. Rank a sticky off a Taupo apparently. Bad start. Crossed over in front of Cameron and span off. Wow, good job. A bad start at Tassie. You're not getting those starts right. So how many times did he actually lose positions because of mechanical things? How many times did he lose positions because of something else? And I think he might have overcooked the clutch or something. Maybe can happen. First round pressure. What else? Yeah, bad. Span himself off. Bad start. It's one that's not his fault. A slightly slow pit stop. I still got the win. Suspension fail. That's mechanical. That's driver. That's mechanical. That's mechanical. This is an issue they were having all weekend. But he's still getting like top 10, so not too bad there. Penalty at QR for punting Will Brown. Mechanical issue. So yeah, driver, mechanical. That's like a strategy issue as far as I'm concerned. They didn't need to do that. If they had a fast car, they can get through the field. If you pit early, you force yourself into a bad position. The best thing to do is what Kai Allen and David Reynolds did. David Reynolds wasn't able to capitalize on it, but Kai Allen was, and he got on the podium. Threaded wheel nut, Sandown, and bang. I think he got the suspension issue from banging into the wall when he hit Feeney. So yeah, like some of these, like how many of them are mechanical? because he probably would have been further up. See what, like, Sandown, he didn't score many points because of the threat of Wilnut. And Adelaide didn't score many points because of banging into Feeney and then this following issues. And then also, and then the fuel leak in the first race at Gold Coast. So he should have been scoring a lot better. He should have been scoring, like, he's just barely having one good round. What else? Nobody else is doing a whole lot better. They're all like 8th. So third, 24th, third, 22nd, which is not as good as. Somehow got more points at Adelaide. I think quite a few people had bad rounds at Adelaide. That's why. So it wasn't quite as hard to get a good result. So it's like, you look at that and you go, yeah, Woody should have won the championship. It's like, or should have been in the finals. He needs to tidy up his racing, and he needs to tidy up, well, he needs to tidy up his racing, and the team need to get those freaking issues sorted. That's kind of it. It's kind of the same as last year. We're also, there are also driver errors that cost him results as a result of damage. Or bad race starts. He had a few bad starts that really cost him. You know, he's kind of, and it's a bit of like a Scott McLaughlin sort of deal. Like, Scott McLaughlin used to drop too many positions in 2017. He still won heaps of races, but he could have won more. That's hedging on a lot, really. What do I think is going to happen? I don't know. I don't know if they're actually going to be able to do it. Because there is a chance that what happened to Ryan Wood could happen to Chaz. I have a mechanical issue, he doesn't make finals. But, I mean, Woody was in the 10. But he was a chance. I don't know. What was going on? I have little like game ideas on like fun ways to watch Supercars, and I think one of them is I haven't actually done it yet, but I was just thinking, like, there are certain seasons where there's like one driver's luck is just terrible, and things keep going wrong. So it'd be like skip to the next race every time James Courtney has a bad race in 2011. And you could do the same thing with like Ryan Wood. Skip to the next race every time Ryan Wood has a bad race in 2025. So here we are. So he was here. He was ahead of Kai Allen after Taylor Bend. and he was still ahead after Bathurst. Right. And then because of that fuel issue and then the bad strategy, and Kai Allen just had a nice clean weekend. Like Woody should be getting 200 points, not 100, not 100 points. Should be getting 200 points. So it should be 15 something, then 17 something, then 19 something, just like Kai Allen, but he wasn't. So he should have been ahead of Kai Allen pretty much. But the fuel issue at Gold Coast, the threaded wheel nut at Sandown, and then the incident with Feeney and the wall cost him good weekends that would have put him further up in the championship. But same as Bathurst, like, well, it's like Kai. I think Kai started having some bad races there. So Kai had a good Bathurst, then he had pretty much a good round every single round. But basically, you're doing good if you're getting 200 points per round. And he didn't really start doing that until Darwin, round 6. Almost 300 points, great round. And then bad round at Townsville. And then he had a good one at QR, I think. And then bad one at the Bend, and then good one at Bathurst, and then from Bathurst onwards he was getting great rounds. Same deal with Ryan Wood. So Ryan Wood is like, we were looking at it just before, and it was like every round there is a reason why things don't go right for him. And that's going to be a whole video. I've got a video that's going to come out tomorrow about Thomas Randall. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I'm going to be stopping the stream at 11 o'clock. So I will have a little bit of time to do that. So I'll try and get the Thomas Randall video done. And then I keep forgetting that I want to do a Ryan Wood video. And I think that that's going to be really good to look at. To be like, where could Ryan Wood have been in the championship if he didn't have things going wrong for him? Like, how many times was it driver? How many times was it mechanical or team? Because my hot take is, the team, a good team don't have mechanical issues. 888, they didn't have mechanical issues all year, and then they had one in the last race. Oh, and then the pit stop one at Talonbend. So Groves. I think Matt Payne did a really good job. I don't know if he did a whole lot better in 25 than he did in 24, but I think that in 24 the team actually weren't as good as we thought they might have been. At the end of 2023, they won 2 races, right? They got the one at Gold Coast with David Reynolds, and they got the one at Adelaide with Matt Payne. And David Reynolds was on the podium in all 4 of the last 4 races of the year. And so you're like, oh, Groves are in there. They're going to be like the best Ford team coming up. And so you go to 2024, and they weren't really. They were more consistent. Like Matt Payne was more consistent. Like let's go find my PowerPoint presentation. It's because of this window. They're not like me. Alright, so it wasn't great. Like 15 top 10s, and I think in 2024 there was 24 races. Which is, and it's just not that great. Like 6th in the championship, then 5th in the championship. It's about the same. Got the win at Townsville, where they did the triple stop. Podium at SMP, where he ran long. And a couple podiums from legitimate pace at Albert Park. So it wasn't great. And then 2025, it's a lot better. You can see it's a lot better, 2025. Like, Groves were legitimately better than Walkinshaw until the finals when Walkinshaw was legitimately better. But, I'd just say, I think it'd probably be a safe bet that Matt Payne will be up there because he should have been second in the championship. Whether Kai Allen can only improve on what he got. I think there's too many changes. So Kai Allen's a new engineer. Alistair McVeigh in a new engineering role. And your overarching engineering role. I think it's like head of performance or something weird. What else? I think that's it. There's no other changes. But yeah, I definitely say like, so Matt should have been second in the championship on merit if it went for the finals. I don't know if there was a whole lot of raw pace though, apart from at Taupo. They had raw pace at Taupo, right? Raw pace at Taupo, raw pace at Adelaide, lucky at Bathurst possibly, and they did their strategy at Tassie and Perth. Darwin, legit pace. The Bend, legit pace. Townsville, they got on the podium at Townsville. What happened at Townsville? What in the world happened at Townsville? I cannot remember for the life of me. Yeah, Chaz is in there. Third, who's qualifying up there? I think Feeney got, was it one or two of them? He got two of them, all right. Yeah, so Brody won the Friday, and Feeney won the Saturday and the Sunday. So yeah. Don't know what to say. There's not a whole lot of raw pace, right? And that's sort of what we're saying. So lucky at Queensland, strategic at Gold Coast, and I think the other one was lucky at Queensland. Was one of them legit? One of those podiums for Kai Allen at Queensland was legit. Taupo was legit. Tassie was lucky. Adelaide was legit. Bathurst was lucky. Perth was lucky. Darwin was legit. The Bend was legit. Townsville was probably legit because he qualified in the front row. So yeah. It's sort of funny when people talk about how good Brody Kostecki was in 2025. He got 2 Friday wins. And the Friday wins are just like, for whatever reason, they came out of the gate fast and got slower as the weekend went on. And that's just funny. All right, maybe we'll try and whip this out in the last 20 minutes because then I gotta go do stuff and I got a busy day. All right, so Matt should have been second in the championship on merit if it weren't for the finals. Yeah. The team played the safety car. What was it called? Virtual safety car? Or not virtual safety car. They actually used it a little bit in 2006. The full course yellow. The full course yellow system well, and scored a few results by leaving Matt out long. But he did get quite a few podiums on legitimate pace, and was overall very consistent, and that's what got him so high up in the points. The team is also progressing more year on year. The cars were faster in 2025 than they were in 2024. And Matt will be the one to lead the way. So if it weren't for the clash with Waters at Sandown, Matt would have been in the top 4 of the championship, if not second, ahead of Will Brown. I think that's possible. I think that's true. And I sort of don't really have the time because I've got a lot of teams. I've been sort of dwelling on like 3 teams for the last 2 hours, or 1.5 hours. So yeah, I say Kylan was very impressive in his rookie season. Improved to the point that he was consistently qualifying and racing in the top 10. And when the car was fast enough, he grabbed trophies as well. So yeah, shouldn't be ruled out of another final spot berth. And could be a challenge for Payne. I think that's true. So yeah. What's my prediction for Matt Payne? Top 5. No, you know what? Top 10. Top 10 in the championship. Top 10 in the championship for sure. And Kylan top 10 in the championship. And then eventually I'll go through it. And yeah, one will definitely be in the top 10. Right, I said, yeah, Brown top 5, but we don't have top 5s anymore. We have top 4s. I'll say top 4 for Will Brown, and I'll say Brock Feeney's going to win the championship. Chaz will be top 10. Ryan would be top 10. Cam Waters. Okay. Now, there's no changes. So, yeah. Tickford had a difficult 2025 season, but it seems to be a regular occurrence that the zigzag year on year. Alright. If that pattern continues, Waters will easily, well, I mean, no, don't say too easily, because there's a chance that Randall could just break through in 2026 and, be right up there. Waters should be in the top 4 of the championship. And score plenty pole positions and race wins. Randall has taken time to perform. There is a chance that he will break through for regular podiums and a first win in 2026. Only because Waters had his breakout year in his 5th year in the championship. And this is Randall's. So do I think that Randall will be in the top 10 of the championship? I think he was legitimately in the top 10 of the championship. He wasn't having a great year, but I think he was legitimately top 10. 17th. So who was he better than? 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. Oh yeah, that's right. Hang on. 10. He should have been 11th. Okay. Randall should have. Okay. He should have been 11th with the old system. But he was able to sneak further up thanks to the finals. Thanks to the 2025 system. In 2026, he will not be so lucky. Right? Now, what was it? If you get knocked out, so he probably would have been, I think officially he was 7th? He was officially 7th, but he should have been. Let's say, so he got knocked out after. And what happens? Do they just they reset it, right? So they're just like, okay, this is where he would have been. All right. So there he is. So he almost, but then in Adelaide, he still, he would have been 11th. And I think Okay. If he gets knocked out, points will be changed to their normal state. Could be out of the top 10 again if he doesn't improve his performances. So, yeah. What do I say? I mean, like, how many years in a row can you have the same performance? He's either going to get worse or he's going to get better, right? Is there someone else that's going to be better than him or worse than him? No. Cam Hill might do a better job than Bryce Fuller did at Brad Jones, but I don't think so. I don't know if we're going to get this. Anyway, so I'll say I predict that he won't make the top 10 of the championship. That's my prediction. I don't think you can bet on Randall. All right. I think it's a safe bet. Reynolds is going to have a bit of a rough year. Yeah. Had a difficult 2025, and in 2024 wasn't able to capitalize on strong qualifying like Winterbottom was. So there's a chance that Reynolds have his last year in the sport. There might be a few flashes in the pan, but Reynolds might not have the raw speed to put his car in the top 10 of the championship like Anton can. Alright, my prediction is could be 11th to 15th in the championship. Do that. Anton will definitely wave the flag. He did a very good job. I think the team can only get better. That's sort of the way I see it. And where are we at? 8th in the championship, and the best year of any Team 18 driver ever. Alright. If he can repeat that, I think he'll be able to repeat that. There is no reason to think that he and the team couldn't repeat that in 2026, especially considering Team 18 took over homologation duties during 2025 and didn't seem to lose performance. So yeah, top 10 of the championship. Probably definitely be top 10. Alright, brilliant combo that should deliver occasional great performances. The team steps up and they will be contenders for the championship. Top 10 at least. Rylan Gray. My predictions for Rylan Gray are I'd say he'll be outside the top 10. I'd say 11th to 20th in the championship. I don't think he's making finals. Because it's DJR, that's why. That's I got all those cool on. Okay, Andre Heimgartner. Andre did a great job. He only missed out by a bee's dick. He should have been top 10 in the championship. But just missed out at Bathurst. Assuming that the Toyota program has no hiccups, Andre should lead the charge for BJR. Okay. Well, I mean, I would say would be strange if BJR carry their qualifying issues into a new car, into a new manufacturer. With Andre up qualifying in the top 10, he could mount a more serious challenge to go further into the finals. Alright, I think Andre will be back in the top 10. I'll still back Andre. He's got what it takes. Let's have a little touch on Cameron Hill. Was impressive in qualifying at MSR. And seemed to outperform his more experienced teammate. But I mean, do you say that Cameron Hill can do a better job than Andre Heimgartner? That's a tough ask. tough ask to expect him to beat Andre. It's kind of hard to say if Cameron Hill and MSR is like a Bryce Fullwood, because Bryce struggled at Walkinshaw, but he wasn't too bad. He struggled at first at Brad Jones, but he wasn't actually quite that bad. He just ended up further down the championship. But I think Cameron Hill will be top 15. From 11th to 15th in the championship. Whoops. All right. Well, that's my predictions for today. I gotta go relax and gotta work on a video for tomorrow. So that's the stream for the day, and I guess I'll come back next weekend maybe. And if I've finished my predictions, then I'll show them off. See you next time. Bye bye.